Okay, so this is going to be part 2 of the video series with the toy assembly, and the next part is to place the bolts inside the holes here in the corner blocks. So as of now, we just have the base pins, and make sure you do put the correct pin in there. There's a base pin and I think an arm pin, I believe it's called, and the arm pin's a little too small, so make sure you put the base one in there. So we're going to go ahead and do that next with the base screw. So we can click on place. Here, arm pin, that's the one I was referring to. It's a little too small. So just make sure you are selecting the base pin when you put those other pins in. So we're going to go base socket head screw. I'm going to open that up. And I'm just going to place 2 of these near each corner block. Alright, press escape when I'm done, so I should have 8 of those out. And I'm going to go ahead and constrain those as well. I'm going to use an insert constraint, very similar to what I did with the pins earlier on. And with this one, though, what I'm going to do is when I'm insert constraint, I'm going to constrain the this edge here. Alright, so like the bottom of the head of the bolt. And I'm going to orbit this around so you can see inside the hole to this part of the hole. Alright, and apply that. So again, it's going to be the center part here of it's almost like the counterboard part here, the part that's going down for the shaft of the bolt. Yeah, the top edge there, that edge there, to the inside edge here, to the bottom of the bolt head. Place those in. Apply that. Again, that should be aligned in there. So again, here and here, and that edge there, and this edge here. Alright, so just continue to apply that. You have a couple more. I'm going to pause this and get them all in, and I'll get back to you. Alright, so all the bolts are in, and the next thing now is to start putting our slide blocks in through here. Alright, so we're going to go into place, and let's locate those blocks. Let's see here. Alright, so I'm going to put the slide block in there. Open that up. And I want to put 2 slide blocks in. Alright, so just left click twice and drop them in. If you put too many in, if you select one, I can delete it out. I can go back in and replace it in. So if you get too many parts, don't worry about it. Just click on it, delete it. You can see how it populates then down in the browser here. I got 2 blocks. That's all I need. And we're ready to start putting these in. Okay. I am going to then constrain these. So I want to constrain. And I'm going to mate the bottom of the block, of one block, to the top of the base here. So you want it to be like that. Apply that. Now, even if it's going into your piece, don't worry about that right now. We'll fix that. We'll do that to the second one as well. All right, so we have something that looks like that. Let's apply that. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a mate constraint so that this edge here, all right, and let me just actually pull this out so you can see what's going to happen here. All right, so I'm going to do a constraint so this edge here is then mated to this edge here, okay, the inside edge. All right, so let's do a constraint. So I'm going to mate this edge to that edge. Apply that. I'm going to do the same with the other one. It doesn't matter which side you do it to. You're just going to do a mate. So these are aligned and apply it. All right, so let me show you. I'm going to go to my home view. So these blocks should move. This one's going to move, forward and back here. This one will move up and down, but nowhere else. They're going to stay within those grooves, and that's exactly what you want. All right. So that's the blocks. All right. Next thing is now to put the arm in here. So again, we're going to go into place, and I'm going to go down to my crank arm, open that up, just place one crank arm in. All right, so once the crank arm's in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a constraint, a make constraint to the bottom of the crank arm to the top of one of the slides. It really doesn't matter. So I'm going to apply that, and then I'm going to do two insert constraints. So I'm going to select on the insert constraint here, and I'm going to select the bottom edge of the arm to the top edge of that block. I'll do the same, apply that, and do the same thing, bottom edge to the top edge here. And again, these should be aligned or opposed, I think they are. And apply that. All right. Yeah, so they're opposed. And so now they're constrained to this, my home view. And now if I move this arm, notice how this moves around. All right. In relationship to that. So that's good. That's what we want. Okay. So the next thing is we're going to put a couple, a pin in here and a couple pins. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to place the arm pin. Open that up. So we need two arm pins. And we're going to constrain the arm pins in. Do another insert constraint. Top edge there. Those we want aligned. Same thing here, top edge. Make sure that's aligned and apply that. All right. And next would be the knob. So we're going to go to place. And we're getting towards the end. We're running out of parts here. So we got the crank knob. Open up that. I'm going to place that in. Just need one of those. And for this one, what I'm going to do is I'll orbit this around. And I am going to do a constraint. Again, an insert constraint. And I want this bottom part edge here basically aligned with the center hole, with the center point right there of that circle. So it's going to line them centered. So that should be good, and they should be opposed. And so that's on there. And so now you can see how it's starting to look like how I want there. It's good. Go back to my home view with that. All right, so we're getting close. We just need to put a bolt in here. So we're going to go back to place. And we want the knob socket head cap screw. Open that up. Place just one of those in. Do another insert constraint. Very similar to what we did before with the inside edge below the head of the bolt. And right there to that edge. Apply that. Alright, it should be flush down here, which looks like it's good. And I'm just going to close that off, go back to my home view. Alright, so the basically my parts are all together, it's assembled. And we just need to put a specific constraint on here to get this to animate it the way we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back up to constraint. And so far we worked with the flush constraint, the insert constraints, but there's one on here called angle. So I'm going to have you select angle constraint, and I'm going to have you select under solution, click on this first one here, it's a directed angle. I want you to select that. And I want you then, it's 0 degrees right here. You can keep that angle at 0. If it's not 0, put 0 in there. And then I want you to select this edge of the, this face of the crank arm, and this face over here of one of your corner blocks. All right, and it's going to basically put those in a position where they're 0 degrees to each other. All right, and that's what we want. All right, so then you're going to apply that and close this out. And we can't move this freely like we were doing before when we were orbiting and rotating it around. It's locked right now because we put that constraint on there. All right. So how do we animate this? What you guys are going to do is under your crank arm, if you click the little drop down under arrow, there's like a plus next to the crank arm. So open up that plus, and you're going to see your angle constraint. So you want that. So I'm going to select that right there. So that one's highlighted, so I just left click on it. Then I'm going to right click on this angle constraint, and you're going to go to drive, and it's going to drive this. Basically, you're telling Inventor, I want it to move this in 360 degrees is what we're going to do, what we're going to set it to. So the start angle is at 0, the end angle is going to be 360. Okay. There's a little double arrow here to the right hand side. Select that, and repetitions, the default is 1. We're going to go 2 repetitions just so the video plays a little longer and rotates through twice. So it's going to go start to end 360 degrees twice. And the AVI rate, I'm going to change that to 25. That should just speed it up so it's not so slow cranking. Just move a little quicker through it as you're going through. And then once you have that all done, all we're going to do is click on the record button. And this is when I want you to go, hopefully you created a finished items folder. When you created that part inside the parts folder that you initially created, put all the parts. If you didn't, this is the time to do that, to create a new folder. So I'm going to have a finished items folder, and you're just going to call this animation. All right, I already have one in there, so I'm just going to save over that file, but you can call this animation. And this is what you're going to visually show me once this is all done. You're going to show me your part, show me your animation, so you can get credit for this, but we're going to save that. And for me, it's going to ask if I want to replace it. Yes. All right. So once it's going to export, it wants to know some of the properties of the exported video that we're going to create. You're going to make sure that broadband is selected. You're going to go down here to custom, select custom for your image size, and I want you to put in 1080 by 720 and click OK. All right, this makes it a little larger, and the file will be a little cleaner than putting in, selecting one of those default ones in there. Okay, so once that's all set up, you're going to want to go to your home view. All right, let me show you what's going to happen here. As we record, if we have this zoomed in too much, it's going to record this area that's in my graphic window. If we have it zoomed out, it's going to do the same thing, which is going to be hard to view. So if I click on my home view, basically fits everything nice and neat. We're basically ready for a recording then. So you want to make sure that the minimize dialogue during recording is checked off. And essentially all you're going to do is click on the forward button, and it's going to go ahead and record your 2-loop or your 2-rotation video that you're going to create. Again, it's going to be a Windows media file. It might take, once you record this, 20 seconds or so to render it, and then you can view it. I'll show you how to do that here shortly. And that's what you're going to show me for credit then, the actual recorded video of your actual assembled toy assembly here. All right, so it's about wrapping up, and there's the video. It's done. This dialog will come back. This box will come back up. I can close that out, and you just have to go to the folder that you have here for your finished items, and it's saved right in there. And here's the video, so I could play that. And again, that might just take a few seconds to render. And the last thing after you have the rendered video is just to save the actual assembly. So to save the actual assembly, go to the application icon. We're just going to go to Save As and locate your toy assembly parts, your finished items, and I just called this finished assembly, so that should be fine. Just call it finished assembly. You can put your initials on the end of it then as well. And that's really all there is to it. You'd save this, and if you have any questions, just let the instructor know, and or just watch a review at an earlier part of the video. Okay, good luck.